Welcome back. It's the Anambra State Governorship debate live on Channels Television. Of course, you can follow all the conversation and know what other people are talking about. It's hashtag Anambra Debates. Let's continue with the conversation now. We've talked about the issues of the profile, politics, now to the economy. And let me begin with the candidates, the style that we've adopted to use based on alphabetical order. I'll begin again now with the candidate of the APC. What is the primary challenge for industrial development in Anambra State? In concrete steps, how would you make Anambra an industrial hub rather than just a commercial hub? Don't forget, commerce empowers the producers in China and other places, while industry empowers the local economy.
How will make Anambra industrial hub? First of all, power. Power can be adaptive. We can bring geometrics from Aba. We can do, apart from geometrics from Aba, we can do dependent power by constructing the mini grids. Without power, without good roads, without water, there's nothing we can achieve. Industrial clusters in Onitsha, industrial clusters in Oka, industrial clusters in Newi, we should be able to, if elected into power. Number one, if we are able to provide steady power supply to our industries, the industries will grow. We are going to manufacture more. The greatest problem in Anambra State is the problem of electricity. 33 kV line. Most of the lines in Anambra State are using 33 kV line instead of 30 kV line. I'm saying that if I'm elected the governor of Anambra State, that's industrial clusters, issue of power, electricity, which is synonymous with power. Good road infrastructure. Let me give you for instance, most of the industries in Anambra, even if I mention something like agriculture, the Excel farm in Omasi, no good road to connect to that place. You have to go through Enugu State for you to be able to go there. I'm saying that if I'm elected the governor of Anambra State, that issue of power, I'll pay adequate attention. And what is the key? The key is provide a novel environment, provide electricity, which is power, construction of mini grids, and also depending on adaptive power and the one that is dependent. And apart from that one, issue of security. Some of the foreign investors don't feel comfortable working in Anambra State because of lack of security. The incumbent governor has tried within his ability and security, but we need to know the more. I'm of the opinion that if I've been elected the governor of Anambra State, that power, good road, and water, potable water, that will go a long way. That will go a long way to make the raw materials for us to source them locally. I'm of the opinion that that power.
Thank you so much. Let me go to the governor and the candidate of ABGA. According to the data released by the federal government, Anambra State has received over 12 billion naira from the Paris Club bailout funds. According to arrangement with the federal government, this was meant to be spent on payment of outstanding salaries and other liabilities. How has the money been spent?
Thank you, Shehu. My predecessor left a liability, that is debt to be paid, worth 127 billion, 779 kilometers of road, and so far I've 101 roads, the 101 total 779 kilometers. I've been able to do 51 roads complete, 337 kilometers, and we have paid out 38 billion plus 6 billion on erosion, and the question is, with this obligation left, the Paris Club money, because I'm not owing salaries or pensions or gratuities, they were effectively utilized to be able to push up on the infrastructure that we're doing. By the way, if you look around, you see that Anambra, under my watch, has grown on infrastructure. Having been left 101 roads, I've achieved 51 of the legacy projects, and I've awarded 94 of my own, including bridges, 12 bridges, 6 completed, the rest are in various processes of being completed. So these things require money. So apart from the Paris Club money, My IGR has grown significantly, and that's why I cushion for salaries. The IGR moved from 300 billion to 1.5 billion where it is now. That's why I pay salary as and when, without even waiting for the federal government budget to come. But when we reel out figures here, I would like you to ask for the for the source, like Chidoka. All the statistics he mentioned, he didn't tell you any source, and that won't go well with the people. But by the way, what Anambra requires is somebody that can drive the process, and I'm the only guy here that can do so. Tony doesn't have the executive capacity. He hasn't even worked in his entire life. My good friend Osolokov worked in the UN. But the best place for him to work now is in Syria, to be distributing relief materials. My other fellow with executive capacity is Chidoka, and he has a good executive experience, but the executive experience is in
just a moment.
Number plates and controlling traffic.
Mr. Obiano, there have been of words between some of your supporters and those of former Governor Peter Obi. This is a follow-up question though, because you mentioned it, then I need to ask you, how much did he actually leave in the state coffers when he left as governor, and are you willing to publicly publish the bank verified statements to settle the matter once and for all?
Yes. Not talking. Yes. My predecessor left 9 billion cash, and
9 billion
cash, and 25.6 billion in script issues. These are sovereign wealth fund and shares in other banks. If you put 9 million to that, you get 35.5 billion. Technically, but he issued checks worth over 15 billion before he left, waiting for me to cross over before those checks started appearing. So you can see it's timid and leading in accounting. That's what happened. So this is fact. We have published it already. It's already in the social media. It's everywhere that what he left was 35 billion. Let me even tell you, if I were
not only publishing the figures, publishing the bank statement, would you do?
Our accounts are properly audited. I have the largest funding from the donor agencies. They will not touch you with a long spoon if they don't see your transparency.
Okay, all right. Thank you. Let's go to the candidate of the PDP. I'll allow you also to respond to the question, the poser he gave, and that same question, because your party has raised these at your campaign. But let me ask you this. That will come as a follow-up. But let me ask you this. Anambra State had a capital budget of 52.8 billion and a recurrent budget of 48.6 billion, one of the best ratios in the country. What visible projects would you say that those kind of monies that come into the government, if for example you are elected as a governor of Anambra State, what in your mind do you think you can use that kind of monies for?
Well, Shehu, let's get serious here. We're talking about a correlation between money budgeted and appropriated and money spent. You must base your expenditure on result-based budgeting, project-driven budgeting. And basically what you do is this. You appropriate a certain amount of money for roads. And if you are appropriating hypothetically 100 million for roads, a 10-kilometer road or thereabout, by the time you spend 50 of that 100 million, you should have 5 kilometers of road visible. The challenge we have here is that this government, my dear friend and my schoolmate, has in the last 4 years spent almost 600 billion. There's nothing commensurate to show. The budget of 2014, 2015, 2016, 2017 appropriated is 455 billion. Where is the commensurate infrastructure on the ground? He talked about road development. Talked about 377 kilometers built. Where are those roads? In Onitsha Metropolis, there is no 2 kilometers of road he started or finished. I asked him to show it. So we need to talk about what you need to do. You use government money, you account for it, you do it transparently. What you do is you do transparent budgeting, you do transparent contracting, so that a person from North Ija who you promised a 10-kilometer road can look into appropriations and see that 10 kilometers is promised, this is the money appropriated. If that road is not built, they can hold the government responsible. Where is the money? So it is a simple, straightforward thing. And by the way, he said I should work at the UN. He's a banker. I worked under Shagari, I worked under Buhari, I worked under Babangida before I went to the UN. So I have federal experience, I have international experience, and I did work in this state under 2 governors. If I was not fit, he wouldn't have appointed me SSG. So what are we talking about? I hate to think that we come here to ridicule people. That's not what I'm here for. This is serious business. It is the fate, the welfare of Anambra State people. Under his leadership, this state is broken. We need to fix it. It's as simple as that.
All right. Let me ask you, because the issue of how much his predecessor, the former governor of Anambra State, Mr. Peter Obi, left in the coffers has been a subject of debate between the PDP and APGA. What exactly is the fact? You heard what he said. What exactly is the stance of the PDP and your candidature on this one?
It's not about the stand of the PDP. I'm an insider. I was the secretary to the government. I was chairman of the transition committee. On the morning he took over from Peter Obi, he was handed over the handover notes. He was handed over the letters with the bank statement. He signed for it. He's an auditor. Would he sign for something he did not believe in? And even if he did, why did he not verify it? Why did he wait for 4 years later to be saying that no money was left? Clearly, in this state, there was an end of tenure event. I'm not here to defend Peter Obi, but the point was it was transparent, it was recorded, he was there. And if they said $75 billion was left, or 75 billion naira was left, I thought it was fictitious. As you came in, that's the first thing you should have addressed. You don't wait for 4 years, started saying near cash or no cash or balance cash. All he said was this: we left 75 billion in naira, in foreign exchange, and in investment instrument. By the way, you tell Anambra State people why he sold the dollar that was saved for this future generation. We have the records.
All right.
And you saw it in the nation.
Before we move forward, I will give you a minute to I'll give you a minute to respond to that. Yes. Go ahead, please.
First, that's Anambra money. In banking, we call it liquidity management. You don't leave an idle fund when you desire to put fund into activities. This guy left 1.7 billion. Contractors have to be paid. While you're balancing your act, you won't have money sitting in the bank and you're looking for money to pay contractors. So that's a legitimate transaction. That's not a personal fund. So liquidating only 10 billion in 4 years to be able to pay contractors in a recession is good. That's balance sheet management. Don't forget that the federal government is owing me 43.8 billion. When they pay me that money, some of that money will go back to sovereign wealth fund or whatever instruments I choose to put them in. So it's not any big deal. It is a normal balance sheet management, liquidity management. You don't keep funds and you are looking for money to pay. Where do you get it? And your money is sitting there. You say you kept it for future generation. What does that mean?
All right. Okay. You have opportunity of a minute to also to respond?
You know, it's one thing to tell people you're paying salary. That's good. You should also tell them where the salary is coming from. If there's savings and it's there, you can decide to liquidate it. But if you liquidate it to pay salaries, you should be honest enough to acknowledge that you've used this money to pay salaries.
It is not true. It's not used to pay salary. It is for infrastructure development.
Can I just allow him? He has the floor.
Can I finish? And let the governor tell us how many times they have sold that money, because it's not once.
I've just made. Let me make a point
for a moment,
for the purpose of the people. Let me make this
just a moment.
point.
I will come back to you afterwards. Let me go to Mr. Godwin Ezemo. Anambra State has an average monthly expenditure rate of 4.72 billion per month. However, the state also has a total average monthly revenue of just about 4.54 billion, meaning a monthly shortfall of 180 million naira, down from 331.55 million naira in 2016. Each month, which is a negative indicator. How do you plan to reverse this trend?
Thank you very much. Anambra State, as we know, we have a trade-driven economy. And if we have a trade-driven economy, we can boost it. The way we will boost it is for us to start immediately, to provide an enabling environment, to encourage our brothers who are out there yearning to come home, but they do not have the environment where to plug in when they come. We have to do this. The way to do this is it will be in two prongs, two steps. One step will be for us to, meet with the, discourse, regarding Anambra State and make sure that we have a very a sanitized distribution system where the power that it comes over to Anambra State is fully utilized. I've learned already, because I am so practical, I'm into business, and I know the trouble I'm going through. I've already found out that a lot of power, sent to us within Anambra State are not used at all because the whole distribution network is faulty. Somebody has got to get this thing working so that we can get all of them to work immediately. But where they are not, where we have exhausted that, and then we can now generate power. As soon as we start generating power and make the environment enabling enough, then people will come and invest. When they invest, they will generate employment opportunities. They will generate more finance towards, boosting the economy of the state. Then from there, revenue will be accumulated, and with that we can make up for whatever shortfall we have, even more than that. Therefore, I know that Anambra State can do better with what we have on ground within Anambra State.
You've given us all of this. You heard what the governor said about the issue of importation and the issue of agriculture. Are you satisfied with that approach to the handling of the economy?
Sorry, go again with your question.
You heard the issue of importation of exportation of vegetables, for example, as part of what the governor said they are doing in Anambra State. Are you satisfied with that approach to turning around the economy of Anambra State?
No, in Anambra State, we do not need to import now. We will import not very large. We will have to generate what we need here immediately. We have the soil, very arable soil farms that are littered here and there, unused. The government has only encouraged people to go and build massive houses with ill-gotten wealth to show wealth. We need to get people now to invest into agriculture and start generating what we call raw materials as well as food for the people. When everybody, and we will encourage both industrial and the personal stuff so that people will have opportunity of making their food and everybody in Anambra State will feel. And then from that point of view, we will be able to increase our income domestically, not waiting for until we import anything and make profit out of it. I am telling you this out of my own involvement within this economy for the last maybe 10 years.
All right, thank you. Mr. Chidoka, the Anambra State debt profile as of 2015 was 3.58 billion domestic debts, lowest in the country, and $60.8 million external debts, 11th highest in the country, given a total debt stock of 15.6 billion as of 2015. How would you plan to repay this debt as not to gear the state too much for future administrations and development activities should you be elected governor of Anambra State?
Thank you very much. The first shock I have is that the governor thinks that saving for future generation is a waste of time. And I think that is scandalous. That is disastrous, because that shows the type of economy we're running in Anambra State. I'll give you an example. Kaduna State, in the same period Anambra State bandied around as doing very well in the economy, grew its IGR from 13 billion to 23 billion, reduced its wage bill from by almost 5 billion naira, and today they can pay their salaries from their wage bill. They increased their tax payer by over 100%. Anambra State grew its taxpayer from 180 to about 201,000. Kaduna State doubled its own in the same period. What is clearly lacking? What is the problem with debt? Lagos State has the highest debt profile in the country, but it's sustainable debt. It is debt because the IGR of Lagos State comes primarily from personal income tax. And personal income tax is a tax that shows that the economy is working. We cannot collect from the poor to build a state. We cannot collect from permits in the shop, from Okada riders to grow IGR. We have to grow the state by growing the people who live in the state, by focusing on the human beings. Now, our debt profile is insignificant, and we need to leverage on that. We need to leverage on that to build infrastructure for tomorrow. The infrastructure we need today, the greatest advantage Anambra State has is its human beings. We need to be the place in the country that is exporting programmers and coders to the world. We have the highest number of people who pass WAEC with English and mathematics every year. We should be able to train a new generation of people who will sit in Anambra State and program for Indian companies, for American companies. I believe very firmly that we have not leveraged on our most important resource, the human beings. And because the governor thinks that investing in the human beings is not important, in the future is not important, I can understand why he thinks that our path to growth is the path of doing what I call accounting and his auditing skills. So we are talking about cash management, leveraging on this. We are talking about growing the pie. Finally, for me, I think what is important, and this is an aside, is that if the governor thinks that the people in the state, which has the best human resource, people sitting on this table, have no executive experience, my attitude is that retiring from a bank at 60 with just executive directorship in a middle-level bank, you are not a performer. Those of us who left government, those of us who became chief executives at 35 cannot be talking about people who managed at 60 to be an executive director in a middle-level bank. So I think what is important is to focus on the issues before us. The issue before us is that Anambra State is not on a sustainable path to growth. The sustainable path to growth is the human beings.
All right.
It is focusing on the human beings.
Thank you so much.
To grow.
We take a break, and when we return, we still have to look into the issues of education, unemployment, and security. We'll be right back, everyone.